Hello Starfield captains. This is my guide on how to make a X-Wing fighter from Star Wars using the Starfield shipbuilder. I've gone through 3 or 4 different iterations on my ship, changing as I've learned how to build things with glitches and seen other things. So please use this how you will to pull what you like and put it onto your ship. If you find something you like more, do that. It's your ship. You need to be happy with it. For me personally, I like my ships to be close to cannon, so I have 4 particle beams on there on the S-foils. You can also see a pair of EM weapons because I like to do some good old-fashioned piracy. And then in the nose, I have also glitched in a pair of, well, not a pair, but a single missile launcher here in the nose. So I will go ahead and get started on showing you how to do this. And we're going to go ahead and break up our build in S-foils, top layer. There's some cosmetics we're going to throw over there. I've got my base layer and my middle layer, as well as my landing gear, which, funny enough, is actually going to go on mostly last. For this build, we're going to use the Nova Galactic Nose Cowling. We're going to flip that upside down, and then we're going to do 3 Nova Mid Cowlings. And then here we've got a 1x1 Stroud Eklund landing gear. I also like to hide a cargo bay in there. I personally use the 100 cm ballast shielded cargo. It just connects right there, and then you bring your landing gear in, glitch it so that you have connections on all the sides, and hit cancel to glitch it into place. And then I use a Deimos 2x1 bay that is flipped to the reverse. I'm going to be boarding this ship from the Breer. I put my shield generator in the nose as well, and I use a missile launcher, as I said, in the nose. My stuff is all Class B because my reactor is a Class B reactor. We're going to go ahead and start the mid layer now with the Nova Mid Cowlings. There's going to be 3 of those, and we're going to go ahead and stick those right there. Once those are on, we're going to put the nose on here. You do the nose after this one at any point because it needs a glitch point. You can do it without it, but it's more annoying. And then we're going to do a 2x1 hab. Your choice. My personal preference is the Stroud habs. I think they look cleaner and better. I usually do a all-in-one because I like to have bedding for my crew, but that's just me from a roleplay perspective. Then we're going to go ahead and bring our reactor and our Grav drive that are glitched into the same square. If you don't know how to do that, I use a Z Machine 4000 reactor right here and a Aurora 12G reactor. We're going to go ahead and put the Grav drive underneath the reactor. Just seems to glitch a little better this way. And then on the sides, we're going to surround it with 1x1s. So we're going to do this and just surround it. And this works pretty well most of the time. So we're going to surround it with 1x1 habs. You can probably use something else just as long as it's all surrounded. And you can see into the middle here. We're going to hover over our Aurora 12G Grav drive. On PC, we're going to duplicate it by holding Control and pushing G. It will dupe down and go underneath. So keep your mouse in the same spot and then duplicate it again, and it will glitch into the same place as your reactor. Sorry, console guys, I don't know the controls, but I imagine that it's there and the glitch still works. And then you can either try and find the sweet spot to hover over the reactor and double click so you can click both. If you don't want to monkey with that, you just grab your whole ship by double clicking, and then you can just move it over and it does the same thing. Once we have our reactor and our Grav drive, we're going to use White Dwarf 1020 engines. We're going to put those on the sides of our Grav drive. And that's going to do it for our mid layer. We're going to come over here and we're actually going to grab the Stroud Eklund hab first. It's just a 2x1. Again, you can use any hab you want. For the cockpit, we're actually going to duplicate a second one on top for just a second. We're going to bring our cockpit up and we're going to mount it onto the top there. And then duplicate it down. That's just one way to put it into place. Oh, I deleted the hab that I needed. that's one way to put it in. Another way is you can just pull this hab out, or the cowling out, put your cockpit in, and flip that into place. If you choose to use the cosmetics, you'll notice that the coloring is all on a Deimos spine. That will not glitch into place. That's why I showed you the glitch with the cockpit, because you will need to move the cockpit up, pull this cowling out, put that into place, and glitch that into place, and then duplicate the cockpit. Ooh, didn't like that time. That's spicy. And then don't try and cancel the build before you're done. So that's how you're going to get that, if you choose to do that cosmetic bit. But, like I said, you don't have to do that cosmetic bit. If you don't do the cosmetic bit, it actually adds to your hull, or your mass, and will reduce your speed, or maneuverability. That's what I'm looking for, mobility. So, once you get your cockpit in place, we're going to go ahead and I like the Connect Pro Docker top, because it looks like it actually is a place for an astromech and has an astromech in it. And then we have the M30 Ulysses Helium-3 tanks on either side of the cockpit. And then we've got a White Dwarf 1020 engine on the top as well on the back of the hab, giving us our 4 engines for our X-Wing. And that's it for the main body. The rest of it is going to be cosmetics, except for the landing gear, we'll need that. And the S-foils are the biggest pain here. So I'll go ahead and grab both of these, pull them over, and you'll notice that there's a little piece that is glitched in there, which is what we're going to start with. It is a Deimos Bracer A. It's just a little beam with a connection port on either side, and that is what we're going to use to connect to our X-Wing for our S-foils. Then we're going to take Stroud Engine Bracer A, and we're going to go ahead and attach a Deimos Wing B. So select the Deimos Wing B, flip it, and hit cancel to glitch it into place. And that's going to put that into a nice little square for us. Grab all 3 pieces of the square and move it onto the bracer. Then you can go ahead, if you want, and put your Teo midcap in. You just hover it over roughly where you want it, as close as you can get it, because that'll make it nice and easy. We're going to flip it until the orientation looks like this, where that curvature is going towards the X-Wing, and hit cancel. And then you select your whole ship and drag it so that that pops into place. You got to be kind of careful if you do that, because I'm doing it too soon. That's my problem. I actually don't want to do that yet. You're going to want to finish your S-foil layer so that everything's connected. So we're going to grab another Deimos Bracer. You can clone that one and just use that, and then you're going to clone your wings for the second layer of the S-foil, or second extension of the S-foil. Then we're going to move those 3 pieces. If you don't grab that bracer first, you might have a hard time grabbing all 3. It's just easier to see that you have the bracer done first. Then we're going to grab a Deimos Wing A and throw that on the end. And that's going to cap everything off so that we'll be able to attach this mid piece here. Throw that in, rotate it. The problem that I was having earlier is that when I was selecting it, I didn't have all the pieces selected, and so when I was dragging it, it wasn't moving everything and it was glitching. So you do have to exploit the glitch the right way and make sure that everything is connected. Once you move it into place, you just hit select. It should snap into place. It is an easier glitch with the mouse that has, if you have a mouse that has a sensitivity adjuster on it. If your sensitivity is really high, you'll overshoot, and it can be a pain in the ass to go ahead and just move everything where it needs to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly attach this top side real quick so you can see again how it works. Again, select that middle bracer and then the wings and connect that. And then you put your A-wings on cap. This is where I threw my particle beams. I use PB-175 Hellion beams. Underneath, I've got an EM weapon, because as I said earlier, I like piracy and boarding ships. Currently have the Firebolt 4000 suppressor. I know there's better models, but that's just what I threw on and haven't bothered to switch it out yet. So once you have your top bracers done, I'm going to go ahead real quick, flip that into the orientation we need. Select the ship, turn my sensitivity down on my mouse so that it snaps into place. See, as you can see, it can be kind of tricky. You have to have a little patience, and it is easier with a lower sensitivity mouse because you can move a little slower with smaller movements, unless you're just better with the mouse than me, because I'm not actually very good with a computer. So just takes a little practice and patience. And then we're going to grab, to come down, a Deimos Spine F. Its defining characteristic is it has a little slant here on the end. The reason we want this is because it has a top and bottom structural mount. We're going to want one of these on both sides to come down to our bottom S-foils. The reason we want that is because our Teo mid-bottom caps are going to connect to those. Our Deimos landing bay does not have a piece to mount on. So we're just going to go ahead and drop down from our upper wings and put those into place. These 4 pieces that you see hanging out left over are cosmetic. You don't technically need them. I have them for the coloring here. You'll see that that does not have coloring. But I like the coloring, so that's what I did. And then make sure you do the exact same thing as the top. It's going to be 100% the same. We're just going to do that engine bracer that is horizontal from Stroud with your Deimos B wings, and then it's going to be a Deimos bracer with another set of Deimos wings that will glitch into place. Flip, cancel, select the bracer in your wings, drag it into place, and then a Deimos wing A. And that's it. That is the build. You could be done right here if you would like, except you'll probably need these landing gears as well. That's what I started with a little while ago, and I decided that I wanted a little more. As you can see, it looks okay. It's pretty good, but these cosmetic pieces, in my opinion, make it just look so much better. So we'll get to that in 2 seconds after I flip these into place. And then we'll go ahead and just attach the wing. If I can get my mouse to stop being dumb. Select all of those, drop it on. Okay, so now to get started with the cosmetics. We actually want to bring these Deimos bumpers on either side underneath the cockpit, and that is going to hide our drop for our S-foils. And just that right there is probably the cleanest base that I would go with if you're not going to do all the fancy stuff. I like to have a little more color and application in my ship to give it a little more structural thing. So right here we've got a Stroud nose cap. We've got it flipped to the downward side. That's what it looks like on the top. So put it roughly where you want it, and we're going to flip it so that it gives us that widening slope there. Select your ship. I'm dropping my sensitivity to make it easier to attach. And sometimes you gotta finick with these a little bit. They can be a pain in the ass. And if it doesn't go, try moving it just a little, because it might not be in the most optimal place, and then you can drag it, and that worked a lot better. So we're going to do that for both sides, but first, before I attach this top one, we're going to remove these cowlings here, because I like to have these Deimos Spine G as my color accent for the top. And again, like I said, you have to do this kind of funny. So you want a hab for your cockpit that is 1 too high, and then we're going to drop these Spine G's in, and that will give us our accent. You can see how that gives it that red stripe at the top, which is what I like. If you don't do that, then your color options it's just one. You can only color the whole thing, and we don't want that. We want to color the whole thing, and apparently doing undo is just not going to help me out here. So once you got all those in place, looking pretty sweet, we're going to go ahead and drop the cockpit. Like I said, delete your extra hab, delete your extra cockpit, and now we're back on track for where we want to be. This one becomes a lot easier to drop in. Put it in place, flip it, hit cancel, select your ship, and drag it into place. Beautiful. See, in my opinion, that just looks so much sleeker. We're going to go a step further and add Teo side caps. I prefer the ones that don't have the weapon mount, but it doesn't really matter because you can't see the weapon mount. And if you want to throw weapons there, it's your ship. Do what you want. For me, that's looking pretty sweet. I also like that color there. So to do that, you're going to grab these wings. Alternatively, you can just duplicate a wing. Control G. Does not want to duplicate that wing. You should be able to duplicate that wing. I don't know why that's not duplicating. And then just flip, cancel, and drag your ship into place. And that did not go the right way. So, oh, almost. Does not like that spot, so like I said, feel free to move stuff if it's being a pain in the butt. Gotta turn my sensitivity back up on my mouse. This is a lot easier if you're actually good with the mouse. I am not, so I apologize that you're having to sit through this while I fiddle with my mouse sensitivity. Drop that and connect. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it's usually not this much of a pain in the ass. There it is. Alright, then we're going to drop this one right here. Flip that. And for me, I just like the amount of color that it allows me to add. You don't have to do this, like I said, because it will decrease your mobility and increase your mass. You will grav jump less distance. You will have more fuel consumption moving you, and it just depends on how vain you are. For me, I just like it to look nice, so we're gonna go ahead, pull all 4 of these into place. There we go. Put this one into place, and flip, cancel, double click ship, and nope. Second try? Nope. Third try's a charm. Again, like I said, you notice I went down and then over because this alignment wasn't quite right. You will have to play with this a little bit. It's not a perfect system, but it works decently. So then we've got Teo Pinpoint 3G landing gear. Your first set is going to be nice and easy. Just going to go right here in front of your S-foils, flip, cancel, drops into place, boom, super nice, easy, and we're done. Then we're going to do our our aft landing gear, which is the same brand. It's Teo Pinpoint 3. We're going to pay attention to those green lines underneath, and we're going to go ahead and line those up because it's going to be another flip, cancel, double click the ship, and drag it into place, and then hit accept. Just like that. So we're going to come over here, line this up as close as you can get it so that those green lines look like they're moving like one. Flip, cancel. I moved a little bit, so hopefully it stays in place. It stayed in place. Boom. And that's it. That is my guide to the X-Wing. As you can see, I like how it looks. I think it looks pretty sweet. But use what you like. Take what you don't like and leave it behind, and if you find something that you like better, that you think looks sleeker than this, please post it to Reddit, because I love seeing everybody's ships on Reddit. Hope you enjoyed this walkthrough, and enjoy.